So the second part of the 18th century, it's the so-called Age of Revolutions, which then turns um, in literature into what is called the Romantic Age, the Romanticism. But basically, this period that goes from the second half of the 18th century till the first 40 years of the 19th century, it's characterized by three important revolutions. The Industrial Revolution, which led to the birth of working towns with factories taking over and polluting the air of big cities. The American Revolution, where America declared its independence from Britain in 1776. Um, Here, well, the tension with Britain in America started in 1773, so 3 years earlier, when the Crown was asking Americans for money in exchange for protection during um, their trades through the Atlantic Ocean to the continent. Um, this led obviously to a revolution in America. They didn't want to pay for their own protection. So the US were finally recognized as independent only in 1783 with the Treaty of Versailles. And you probably know this, George Washington became the first president of the United States in 1784. We then have the French Revolution, which I will not talk about, and the subsequent reign of terror with the Napoleonic Wars. When English literature is concerned, the period going from the French Revolution to the coronation of Queen Victoria is the so-called Romanticism. So this period here, the Romanticism, contrasts with what came before, what we talked about earlier, which was the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, right? So the Enlightenment characterizes the first part of the 18th century, whereas the Romanticism characterizes the second part. Where the Enlightenment emphasizes objectivity and reason, Romanticism now valued nature, the individual, the subjective, and the irrational parts of human being: emotion, imagination, introspection, and the relationship with nature. The Romantic period is divided into two parts or two generations. Um, we unfortunately cannot look at all the authors belonging to this generation, but we will focus on the precursor of the Romantic period, uh, an author who was deemed pre-Romantic because of his revolutionary ideas and his way of working with words. And that poet is William Blake.